Hello, BTS people. So today let's review the new series on Netflix. Have you heard of Fing Line? It's a Nollywood drama now streaming on Netflix. If you like stories about fate, moral dilemmas, and human frailty, this one will grip you. In this review, I'll talk about the plot without major spoilers. Yes, I don't want to give you spoilers at all. The performance, the theme, the strength, and the weaknesses, and whether it's worth your time or not. Okay, so let's look at Thing Line. It centers on Uzo, our favorite Uzo, who is now all over the screen in the Nollywood industry. He featured as Pastor Raymond, a married church leader whose life spirals when he becomes entangled in a dangerous affair with a woman named Annie, who is later found dead. By the way, the person that played Annie is um Montana, okay? As the story unfolds, layers of deception, secret, and moral conflicts came to light, especially as Raymond's failure to anticipate consequences threatens both his personal life and his ministry. The film treads into areas of religion, pressure, hypocrisy, and human weakness. Yes, all of this were encompassed inside this piece. By the way, it is produced by Mercy Aigbe. One of the film's strong suits is its cast, Uzo, like I mentioned before, Pastor Raymond. He brings a mixture of sincerity and inner conflict to the role, giving a man trying to live up to spiritual expectations while battling inner demons. Okay, so Mercy, on the other hand, Uche Montana, Yvonne Gede, and others contribute a robust assembly that keeps tension really high. Annie's character is written as manipulative and desperate, which helps drive much of the film's suspense. I think that was just where the suspense lied. Okay, the supporting cast, especially those in investigative roles, they added a lot of balance, rooting the film in a psychological realism. The only cast that I just couldn't I wouldn't say I just couldn't understand because it was just to bring a spice of comedy. It was the Iyabo Ojo and her husband's part. There were two ras for me. Well, when her husband speaks, you laugh. There is this subtle laughter, but there are some people who are not cut off for those kind of families. Those Ras family, they are always shouting at themselves. The man went, picking up a prostitute and using the wife's money. That was just what that cast brought. Anyways, let's continue. The tone of that movie, the tone was often dark and tense, with emotional weight. It's not a to watch. It's not a light film to watch. Some moments of comic relief, like I said now, with Iyabo Ojo, So, stylistically, the costuming, lighting, and set design were solid. Church scenes had a grounded, not overdone kind of settings. Okay, there was a lot of realism. There was authenticity because you guys know Mercy Aigbe. She gives it all out when it comes to acting. What can I say again? There was strong performance, to say the least. There was strong performance. Production values, the costumes were okay, lighting okay. So if you haven't watched Thing Line, you may want to watch it because here was Uche. No, here was Pastor Raymond, who is a big church leader. He just got entangled with Annie, who was a prostitute. Annie spiked his drink in a hotel where he went for some conference. What confuses me still is how Annie got into the settings of Pastor Raymond and his friend, because himself and his friend, they were sitting at the lounge of the hotel having a discussion, and then Annie walked in. So there are some parts of that movie that were not really spelled out. Annie came, sat down with them. It appeared like Annie came for Pastor Raymond's friend. But all through Pastor Raymond's ordeal in the hands of Annie, who spiked his drink, went into his hotel room, and then, raped him, I will say. And it continued like that. We never saw his friend anymore. His friend never showed up anymore. And for me, that was a low part of, that movie. Well, most of the cast, just disappeared suddenly. We didn't get anything from them again, and the movie didn't end like something that is going to have a part two. It didn't end like something that is going to have a part two. Anyways, there was a lot of jealousy. Should I call it jealousy or protection of family? Because it turned out that Annie died and it was Pastor Raymond's wife who killed Annie. That is Mercy. Okay, they took a lot and lot of investigation to finally discover that she was the one that killed Annie. So she was arrested and sentenced. So that's what I'm saying. It's not looking like there's going to be a part two of that movie. So the act of some of the cast just disappearing or ghosting on us, it doesn't really sit well. But then again, out of a 10, I will give the movie a 7 of 10. A 7 of 10. So if you are a movie lover, and you want to see movies around the religious settings, how some of your big pastors, the kind of things they face inwardly, you can go check it out. It's a Netflix series. Okay, Thing Line. You have Uzo, Azioku, you have Messi Aigbe, you have Uche Montana. Uche Montana is a killer. That lady, she interprets her role as though there are no cameras, there are no lights, as though she's just doing her thing. She went all, in fact, at some time, for a moment, I forgot I was watching a home video.